So today I'm going to make some zucchini bread, and I'm going to test my family to see if they can tell the difference if it's freeze-dried shredded zucchini or fresh zucchini. So join me as I bake up 2 different loaves of zucchini bread using freeze-dried and fresh. Now when it comes to freeze-dried, of course, all the moisture is taken out of this. And so what I have found is 3 cups of fresh zucchini is about 2 cups of dried zucchini. So there's quite a bit of loss. So what I'm going to do is take about 1.5 cups of this dried zucchini, add a little bit of water to a bowl, let it absorb some of that moisture, but not too much. And then I'm going to go ahead and just use 2 cups of fresh zucchini in these 2 different loaves. And I'll post the recipe below in case you want to make it for yourself.
So I'm going to start off by mixing up our dry part of the mix. And because I'm doing a double batch, it seems like it's a little bit more than what you would normally use for a loaf. And the flour that I use is actually a gluten intolerant flour that is supposed to be free of a lot of those unfortunate things that we see in traditional white flour. And then I went ahead and added, my baking soda, baking powder, and now I'm adding in my starting with the wet ingredients and adding my brown sugar and butter. I was supposed to put the eggs in here, but I kind of forgot, and that'll be coming later. And then, of course, it's sourdough. So I love adding sourdough. If I have time, I actually try to ferment my bread for 24 hours so that it gets that true fermentation. So while that's mixing, I'm going to go ahead and measure out my 2 cups of fresh zucchini. And I did start with 1.5 cups of the freeze-dried zucchini, but I did end up adding in a little bit more because by the time I rehydrated it, it just didn't look like as much zucchini as I thought it should be. So that's the beautiful thing. You can play around with what vegetables you want to add. In fact, I actually just recently saw a recipe where you could swap out some of that zucchini for some pumpkin and do a pumpkin zucchini. So definitely lots of variations here. So as you can see, I added it in. So now that the wet is ready, I am adding in the dry, and then I started mixing that. And here's finally my eggs, and I also make my own homemade vanilla extract. And so I'm going to be adding that in here, trying not to get any of the whole beans. That's definitely a favorite in my pantry. And so obviously you could do this with the mixer, but for the sake of the video, I just thought I would hand mix this. Now I'm going to go ahead and split it up into 2 bowls and then add the fresh to one and the freeze-dried to the other, and then get those in the oven and start baking. Now the final results were nobody could really tell the difference outside of that the freeze-dried one was just a little bit drier, a little bit browner than the other loaf. So as you see this final picture, you'll have to see if you can tell a difference looking at it. But honestly, like, they both mixed up really well. And with freeze-dried food, the beauty is that I could make the zucchini bread at any point. And maybe next year I don't even have to grow a zucchini because I have so much extra zucchini this year from my garden and I only had 1 plant. But I also like freeze-dried zucchini noodles for, say, a replacement for pasta, putting it as a filler in soups and casseroles. Even egg bakes are some of my favorite. So here they are. This is the freeze-dried one. And so squish test, it did split. Like I said, it's just a little bit drier than the fresh one. But honestly, I'm excited because I don't always have fresh zucchini handy.